It's match day as Aberdeen travel to Ibrox to face Rangers. Today is all about showing no fear as we aim to close the gap to just 4 points. Here's today's other fixtures. Dundee United taking on Motherwell, Hibs are at home to St Mirren, and St Johnstone take on Kilmarnock. Let's put it into context for you in terms of the league table. So a win today will take us just 4 points behind Rangers, and we have 3 very winnable games coming up before the World Cup split. Good morning, how you doing? A very warm welcome to Ali Beg ABTV here on YouTube. I hope all is well. So, what a big game coming up later today. 3 o'clock kickoff at Ibrox. Personally, I'm quietly optimistic, but the butterflies are already churning in the old tummy. So let me know how you think the lads will get on today. Going to predict the team news, have a look at the formation. A little bit later on, going to be speaking to former sports editor of the Evening Express, Charlie Allan, and our very special guest today is the legend that is Ian Jess. We talk about today's game and he offers us his all-time top 3 favourite goals against Rangers. So that's all to come. So, as you know, I like to just chuck in my penny's worth here. This is what I'm thinking. I think it's important today that we try and unsettle them on and off the park as quickly as we can. If we can start today's game like how we started last week's game against Motherwell, I think the fans will very slowly start to get on the Rangers players' backs, which will only work to our advantage. I think we have to try and get early balls into the box from the flanks, get at their fullbacks, because I think their fullbacks are their weak link. And I think if we can make them defend early, it will unsettle them. Excuse me. And I'm hoping today that they don't overly dictate the flow of play. So I'm looking for us to be busy, to get in and around them, work really hard when we don't have the ball, just as much that we have to work hard when we do have the ball. It's just as important. So that's what I think today. Get in touch on YouTube, and as you know, I will always do my best to read out your comments. So, let's start by predicting the team that Jim will start today. I only think he's going to make one change. I've got a feeling that Hayden Coulson will come in for Jack McKenzie. Now, I know Jack played really well last week against Motherwell, but I've just got a feeling that Hayden will come back in. So in terms of the formation, where do we think we're going to go? Personally, I'm hoping he sticks with 3 at the back. And I think it will be a diamond formation, but 5, if you get my feeling. But Duke and Miovski to play up top. So that's how I see the formation today. Let me know what you think. Here's the match stats. So Aberdeen have not beaten Rangers at Ibrox in a league match since the 5th of December 2018. The Dons won 1-0 thanks to an early Scott McKenna goal. Our last victory at Ibrox came in a Scottish Cup quarter-final replay on the 12th of March 2019. That night we won 2-0. And the Dons today are targeting 3 straight league wins for the first time since December last year. The man in the middle today is Steve McLean. Right, let's introduce our first guest. So I caught up with former sports editor of the Evening Express, Charlie Allan, who gave me his thoughts on how he thinks Aberdeen will play today and how he thinks they should approach today's game at Ibrox. Here's Charlie. Hi Charlie, thank you so much for jumping on. It's great to see you this Saturday morning. Right, let's first of all start by asking you, have you seen much of the Dons this season?
Well, I was very fortunate to be at the last 2 home games, and I have to say I was very impressed with the attacking play that Aberdeen showed in those games. Although I was also at the Motherwell game not so long ago when they lost at Pittodrie And I have to say there are aspects of that game that had me a bit concerned. So, yes, I'm seeing a wee bit more of them now. I had been involved with Cove Rangers these last 4 years, but cut back now, so I imagine I'll be a more regular at Pittodrie over the next week.
So what's your thoughts ahead of today's game?
Well, I always love the excitement of Aberdeen going to Ibrox. I mean, as a reporter with Evening Express for 30 years, I used to get some stick going down there because it had been 1991 up until my very last game reporting Aberdeen in 2017 that they hadn't won a league game at Ibrox, which made me laugh at all the comments all the time. Oh, Aberdeen always raised their game against Rangers. But it had been years and years and years since we'd beaten them at Ibrox. And Ryan Christie headed John goal in the 2-1 win in May 2017, which I knew was going to be my last visit there working at Ibrox. I'll tell you, I've never seen a reporter so chuffed as I was that day. I was almost crying with sheer delight. And the only other time I'd written about Aberdeen beating Rangers, it didn't happen very often during my time. And maybe I was the jinx, was when we beat them in the semi-final in '95 and Ian Jess keep you up thing.
Yeah.
And I wrote a match report after that game saying that beating Rangers was better than sex. Which I thought was funny at the time, and my pals I thought it was hilarious.
And your wife?
But Mrs. Allan, and she did say, well, if that's the case, you may find that both events happen as often as each other. And given we never won again until 2017, I shall say it's been a frustrating life.
I tell you what, though, we are coming into this game in good form, and they're coming into the game in different form. So you could argue, like, before the game was obviously cancelled due to the Queen's death, we're meeting them at a good time.
I have to agree with you. I mean, we're on the back of a winning streak. Also, you've got a lot of Aberdeen players there that don't have the baggage, shall we say, of all the Ibrox nonsense, because many of them have never even played there before. Yeah. So, I mean, they're going to be going there with open minds. I think Jim Goodwin made that point himself yesterday, that he saw that as an asset rather than a problem for them, because they've got no experience of going there. I mean, a stadium's a stadium, a pitch is a pitch, and a lot of these lads have come from abroad. I don't think they'll be fazed by going to Ibrox. Hopefully they'll be inspired by the fact there will be a big crowd there. A crowd that can be easily turned, as we've seen recently.
So the momentum, because I mentioned it earlier, Charlie, I think if we can get on a decent run, we've got 3 very winnable games after this, then obviously we've got the World Cup break. I just think post-World Cup, we would come into the second part of the season in such a good frame of mind. So how important do you think it is to keep this momentum going?
Well, it's huge, particularly because right after the World Cup and early in the new year, we've got this semi-final coming up as well. We're all desperate to see the Dons back in that and winning a final. I mean, who would have thought that 2014 under Derek would have been the last trophy again? We thought there was going to be a bright new beginning for the Dons, but we've continued to fail to bring silverware, which is all we asked for, all the Aberdeen fans ever asked for. So if they go into this break in a positive run of matches, have right on Rangers' tails. I mean, that year when they won in 2017, Aberdeen finished second in the league that year. And I remember Derek McInnes saying at Ibrox after that game that Rangers should be embarrassed that they didn't finish above Aberdeen given their resources. So we know the resource problem still exists. So it's about an attitude, isn't it? And it looks as if they've got a wee attitude at Pittodrie, beginning to get a wee bit of swagger about them again. There's still concerns. I mean, I'm not so keen on the captain. I'm just no disrespect to him, but I watched the games recently that I've been at, and I can see that he maybe he's not as invincible as people seem to be making out to be. There are defensive frailties there in all of the games I've been at. There could have been different results if the teams that we're playing against had taken advantage. But the fact is, they're finding ways to win. So despite any weaknesses or perhaps little hindrances at the back there, they're going on, they're finding ways to win, and they're exciting to watch. And that's what I'm hoping for at Ibrox today, that they go out. We've been, I've been at matches where they played Celtic and Rangers in the past on the back of a good run, and you go there and you think, oh, you've been playing 2 up front, now you're only playing 1 up front, and you're sitting in a bit.
Yeah.
I hope Jim Goodwin has the gumption to go for it. Rangers are there for the taking. We've seen all the teams that played in Europe Okay, they're a higher standard than Aberdeen, but it's about their approach to the games, and they've gone and they've beaten Rangers fair and square. I think if Aberdeen have a wee go at Rangers and fall short, the Aberdeen fans who will be there doing their best to cheer them on again will accept that far more than perhaps they would in the past when they've gone there and seen their side perhaps being a bit more defensive and apprehensive.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Mate, listen, thank you so much for coming on. I will leave you by just one wee comment. Your wife is still a very lucky girl.
Thank you very much.
Bye, Ronan. Bye-bye. My thanks to Charlie Allan. Right, let's get the thoughts of the manager. So this is what Jim had to say in his pre-match press conference yesterday. I think mindset is a big thing when you're going into these type of fixtures, especially away from home against Celtic and Rangers. I think a lot of teams can be very defeatist and very negative before a ball is kicked. I don't see that within our group. We want to see what exactly is required to get to that next level, and I think Saturday will give us a good understanding of that. I have to say, I've been really impressed by what he has been saying in the build-up to this game about showing no fear. Right, there are so many of you on YouTube today. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching. Wonder if it's got anything to do with a certain guest who's coming up shortly. So Andrew McDonald, come on you Reds. Gregor Stevens, come on you Reds. Get right into them from the start. John Bleasdale, hi John. Let's get at them early. Let them know we're up for the battle and not be too defensive. We have the attacking quality to hurt them. Let's utilise that threat. 100%. Scott's Hawk says, good morning everybody. James McGaskill also says, good morning. Need to take the game to them today and not defend too deep. Good chance for a positive result today. The Scottish Wildman says, come on the Dons. Kaiser, fit like everybody. Hi Kaiser. Johnny Elric, it's the best chance we have to beat them. An early goal from Duke and bully them all the way. Exactly. Bully them. That's all we want. Andrew McDonald, feed the Duke and he will score. Kevin Turner, just want us to go out, show them zero respect and go all out. Start on the front foot and give them no time to settle on the ball. Hope Jim goes 2 up top again. Let's do this. Oh, I really hope so. I really hope so, Kevin. Kaiser has come on to say, Duke and Miovski can do a lot of damage to their defence. Again, it's their weak link. We have to get at them today. But Kaiser also goes on to say that Rangers will raise their game against us today. I have absolutely no doubt they will. Lots of pressure on them today. Gordon Downey, hello from Dubai. Stewart and Scales have to be on their game for the full 90 minutes. High press like last week. We look like a team set up for fast counters which can exploit the very shaky Rangers defence. Andrew McDonald says too much information from Charlie while he's having his breakfast. Neil Kylo has says, good evening from Perth in Australia. Bouncing for tonight's game. 10 o'clock kickoff in Australia. Paul Donaldson. Good morning, Paul. Today will be the first time a lot of these new players will have played against Rangers. Hopefully, they will approach it just like any other match and won't be overawed by a hostile crowd. Good point. Andrew McDonald went on to say that Stewart looked better in a 3 with McCrory and Scales. I really liked the formation last week. I thought it was excellent. Fraser Gunn. Hi, Fraser. How are you, fella? Come on, you Reds. Karen Keane has said, I'm here for Ian Jess. Aren't we all, Karen? Right, so keep them coming in. Malcolm Park, just quickly. Only one approach for me today. 2 up top. Attack, attack, attack. 100%. Right, so keep your comments coming in. We will get to them. So, Ian Jess. So I thought it would be fun to get a hold of Ian from his home in Barcelona and just get him on to have a chat about today's game, which we do, and he offers us his thoughts on today's game. But I also thought it'd be quite good fun to chat to him about his favourite all-time top 3 goals that he scored against Rangers. And I think it makes for quite an interesting chat. So here is Ian Jess. Hi Ian, thank you so much for jumping on. It's great to see you this Saturday morning, looking well as ever. Right, mate, before we get into our top three, let me ask your thoughts ahead of today's game at Ibrox. What are you thinking?
Well, obviously it's a difficult place to go and get a result. So Aberdeen's had three in a trot, 3 wins in a trot, so should be in a good place mentally. Rangers obviously not in that good place at the moment. A little bit of pressure on the manager at the moment, so it's a good time to sort of go at Ibrox. As long as we are positive, and maybe we can silence the crowd in the first sort of 15, 20 minutes. That's the way I think we would have to go. Obviously, the Rangers are under a little bit of pressure with the results that they've had in the last few weeks. But that could go against us as well. But it's all about the start of the game. If we go there with confidence and aggressive, then hopefully we can get a good result.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Right, mate, let's do your top 3 goals against Rangers. And we're going to do this 3, 2, 1. So, number 3, scored at Ibrox on the 14th of November, 1998, in a game that we lost 2-1. Talk me through your goal.
Well, it's a long time ago, but I remember sort of. I think Robbie Winters sort of received the ball and sort of turned on the right wing, and I don't know who it was. He actually turned on a sixpence, and he played into Mike Newell, who dropped off into the midfield, and I just made a run at Mike. I mean, he would be the last one to sort of be sort of saying anything about his passing ability, but he managed to put in a sixpence for me, and I've sort of taken it down and managed to sort of volley into the far corner. So I sort of remember the celebration a little bit more because I think I got a wee bit excited and swore a little. So, but again, to score a goal against Rangers at Ibrox is always a nice thing to do.
Okay, number 2 came at Pittodrie. Almost a year to the day, 1 year earlier. So the 15th of November, 1997, in a 1-1 draw. Talk me through your goal.
Well, there's sort of story behind that because I'm sure it's the same game because like I actually put Lorenzo Amoruso on the track in front of the Rangers fans. I mean, I wasn't blessed with my tackling ability, but I think it was sort of quite a wet day, so I sort of slid in and put Amoruso up in the air, but on his way down, his stud caught me. I don't know which side, this side or this side. And the stud caught me in sort of gaping wounds. So I actually had to go off. And the doctor stitched me up, 2 or 3 stitches on my chin. And then I came back on. And within a five minutes, I actually scored that goal. So, and the goal itself, so I remember sort of somebody winning it in the midfield, and then the ball came down to me, and I sort of turned. I think it was Richard Gough on the edge of the box, and it just bounced perfectly, and I just hit it. It's like one of them things that when you hit it, you know it's good. But you know, there's been a couple of times, and so my nemesis was Andy Gorham, God rest his soul. You know, and it was funny because we were in Dubai earlier on this year, and we played in the Legends game, Scotland v England, and Andy was there, and I was having a laugh and joke at him and saying that I was sick of scoring against them, and he was adamant that I'd never scored against them.
Oh, really?
But obviously that was one that he forgot, but I never. So. Yeah, it was just one of the things. Obviously in front of the Dick Donald stand as well, which was fab. So.
Yeah, it's a great strike. Okay, your favourite goal that you scored against Rangers, of course, came at Ibrox on the 11th of November, 1995, in a 1-1 draw, where you pick it up just inside our half, and you run, and you run, and you run. Take up the story.
Well, I mean, I've seen it umpteen times. So it's I think Alan McLaren sort of takes a free kick and launches it into the sort of halfway line, and it's sort of just I got the flight of the ball. I think it was Ian Ferguson that was sort of tried to win it with a header, but it sort of evaded him, and so I managed to take my first touch. And to be fair, I mean, Yeah, the importance of the first touch was the really important thing. So I managed to, and I just kept on running. But the fact that sort of guys had told me he was going to break my legs sort of 10 minutes beforehand was probably why I was running so fast, and my touch was sort of kept on going, because I was thinking, is he going to catch me or not? But that's how I just get to the point. And again, it's like the second goal, the last goal that I explained. When you hit it, you know it's good. Yeah. And it was just rising. And I was probably celebrating before it hit the back of the net. So yeah, I mean, then the celebration, and it was in front of the Aberdeen fans, Ibrox. So you can't ask for much more than that. So it's just, something I'll live with for the rest of my life. So,
brilliant. 3 great goals, mate. Thank you so much, as always, for jumping on. It's great to see you. And hopefully it won't be too long before we see each other again.
Yeah, you're welcome, Ali. Cheers.
Brilliant, mate. Thank you so much.
You.
See you
Bye.
soon. The legend that is Ian Jess. What is it the kids call players these days? The GOAT. He is the original GOAT for me. What a player. Can I just say thank you for watching today. I think these are the highest numbers that we've had in a long time. So thanks for getting on board. Thanks for watching. I really hope you're enjoying the show. Let's get some more of your comments. Fraser Gunn, Ian Jess, my boyhood hero. Bowing down to my hero. Outstanding player. Marty Meldrum, hi Marty, has said, get into them today, heed first. Scott's Hawk, signed Jess shirt from the mid-90s is my prized possession. Gregor Stevens has said, what a player. I mean, what a player. John Bleasdale, great to hear from Ian again. Not only was he a great player, but also a very humble human being, as emphasised in the January event that we did together back in January. He's honestly, Ian is the nicest guy you'll ever meet. Kevin Main, if we get beat today, which I don't think we will, I would rather go down having a go than parking the bus. If we go for the jugular, they will fold like a deck of cards, especially if their fans turn on them. I agree. Erica Mitchell, good morning, Erica. She says hello to Ian as well. Andrew McDonald, that goal, every Aberdeen fan would have loved to score. Absolutely wellied it. Kaiser has said, great to hear from Ian. Paul Donaldson, what a goal that was. Nobody who saw it will ever forget it. Andrew McDonald, great to hear. Cheers, Ian. Johnny Elric, Ian Jess, what a legend. James McCaskill, great to hear from Ian. Would love to see a quality strike like that today. Any strike, to be honest, to win it. Thank you, Paul. Got your comment there as well. So, let's go down the old history road. Let's find out what happened on this day in the club's history on the 29th of October. So, back in 1983, Aberdeen went top of the league after beating Dundee at Dens Park. Now, after the game, the board of directors opened negotiations with Alex Ferguson in an attempt to get him to sign a new contract because everybody was now circling around the football club trying to get the services of Alex Ferguson. On this day in 1966, Ernie Winchester becomes Aberdeen's first ever use of a substitute in a league match. He replaced Jens Pettersson and then promptly became the Dons' first player to score, having come off the bench in what was a 2-1 win against Hibs. And on this day in 1996, Eb Skovdal's Brøndby knocked Aberdeen out of the UEFA Cup. Now, why is that significant? Because that was the time that the board of directors targeted Eb as our new manager. Did you catch my latest edition of Beg's Banter with Dougie Bell? If you didn't, I thought I would bring you a little snippet from the interview because it was fascinating stuff. As many of you know, Dougie obviously missed out on the Cup Winners' Cup final due to injury. So we talked about it. It was quite an emotional little part of the chat. But this soundbite is where he actually explains how and where he received the original injury. Here's Dougie Bell. Okay, can you talk me through the injury that you received, which obviously ultimately put you out of the Cup Winners' Cup final?
Yeah, we played Celtic in the semi-final in 83 at Hampden, and I'd get tackled after about 20 odd minutes off the boy Graham Sinclair played for Celtic. He went in a wee bit late, and I played the whole game, but it wasn't until after the game. We won. Peter Wickham was sub-squad. I think Eric Black and Neil Cooper both got injured that game, so I'd stayed on. But going up in the bus, my ankle swelled right up, and the next day, Alec Ferguson and Archie Knox took me to the hospital, and they said I'd fractured my ankle. And they put it in plaster right away, because the final was only, I think it was maybe 2 or 3 weeks away. And they put it in plaster for a week, took it out. I think I played the last game of the season against Kilmarnock, but it wasn't right. And then the manager arranged a game at Easter Road on Sunday before we flew out, and I played in that, and then I get tackled, and it kind of went again.
Okay.
So I was struggling.
Dougie Bell. So if you've not caught up with it, it is now sitting on the channel, and it's there for you to watch. If you are out and about today, and you're not going to get a chance to go to Ibrox or listen to the game, then why not join us on the big Saturday football show between 2 and 6 on North Sound 1, where I will be reporting live from my base here in Germany on today's game. So the beauty about that means that I can actually bring live updates of exactly what's going on at Ibrox to you. So that's the big Saturday football show between 2 and 6 later today on North Sound 1. Right, let's finish off with some more of your comments. Goodness me, there are so many of you watching today. How rather exciting. Right. Michael Findlay has said, thank you for the very kind comments about the show, first and foremost. Great to have something like this to watch. He goes on to say, anyone else heard that a section of Rangers fans are going to be doing a protest of being silent? Yes, I did hear about that. Chris Blackwood replied by saying, nothing new there then. Al Mitchell has said, I think this is a great time to hammer the Rangers. Majowski to score first, and then a belter from Duke. Yeah, let's hope so. Johnny Utah has said, Duke and Majowski both have to start today. Johnny, I think they will. I really think they will. There's a lot of talk today about Majowski online, about potentially being injured. I don't know. I've not heard anything to the contrary. I'm wondering if that's a little bit of reverse psychology. Guys, thank you so much for all your comments that have come in today. Absolutely fantastic. Just another little note. I'm going to be heading over in the next couple of weeks, and I'm not sure if you've seen, but I'm going to be doing a very special event with Joe Harper and Frank McDougall in the Station Hotel in Aberdeen. It's the first time that the two of them have been in a room together to talk about their time at the football club. So obviously, as you know, Frank is currently going through a health scare, and he is absolutely adamant that he wants to be at the event. So if you jump on my Facebook page, there is all the information there to buy VIP tickets and normal tickets and come along and meet Frank and Joe if you get the chance. And obviously, we would love to see as many of you there as possible. Right, guys, we are done. Thank you so much for watching today. Thank you for jumping on. If you are heading to Ibrox, please have a safe and enjoyable trip. And all that's left to say is, lads, seriously, heed first. Get right into them from the off. No fear. We can do this today. I'll see you tomorrow for the review show. Bye for now.